One morning, as 𝐬𝐫𝐽𝐿 prepared breakfast, she turned to 𝐼𝐻𝐿. "I want to start something," she said. He raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" She took a deep breath. "There are many young girls in this village who suffer like I did," she explained. "They have no parents. No support. They are treated as burdens." 𝐼𝐻𝐿 nodded slowly. "I want to create a home for them," 𝐬𝐫𝐽𝐿 continued. "A place where they can learn, grow, and feel safe." 𝐼𝐻𝐿 smiled. "That is a beautiful idea." She looked up at him. "Will you help me?" His eyes softened. "Always." And just like that, a new dream was born. Over the next few weeks, 𝐬𝐫𝐽𝐿 and 𝐼𝐻𝐿 began their mission. They used part of Papa 𝐼𝐻𝐿's land to build a small shelter for young girls in need. Villagers who once doubted her now offered their help. Men came to build the shelter. Women brought food and clothing. Little by little, the home came to life. And before long, the first group of girls arrived. Some were orphans. Some had run away from cruel families. But all of them had one thing in common: they had never known kindness. Until now. As the days passed, the home grew. 𝐬𝐫𝐽𝐿 taught the girls how to sew, cook, and weave. 𝐼𝐻𝐿 helped them learn simple medicine and basic farming. For the first time, these girls had hope. And the village began to change. People no longer saw 𝐬𝐫𝐽𝐿 as a poor orphan girl. She was now a leader. A protector. A mother to the motherless. And 𝐼𝐻𝐿 stood proudly beside her. One evening, as the sun set over the village, 𝐬𝐫𝐽𝐿 sat outside, watching the girls play. A warm breeze brushed against her skin, and she smiled. She felt different. Stronger. Happier. Then, suddenly, a strange feeling washed over her. She placed a hand on her stomach, her heart skipping a beat. Could it be? She hurried inside, where 𝐼𝐻𝐿 was reading an old book. He looked up as she entered. "What is it?" he asked, concerned. 𝐬𝐫𝐽𝐿 took a deep breath. "𝐼𝐻𝐿," she whispered. He sat up quickly. "What's wrong?" A tear slipped down her cheek. "Nothing is wrong," she said, smiling. Then she placed his hand on her belly. I think I am with a child." 𝐼𝐻𝐿's eyes widened. Then, a slow, joyful smile spread across his face. "You're sure?" he whispered. 𝐬𝐫𝐽𝐿 nodded. Tears filled his eyes. Without a word, he wrapped his arms around her, holding her close. Their love, their journey, their struggles, it had all led to this moment. And now, a new life was beginning. The news of 𝐬𝐵𝐽𝐿's pregnancy spread through Umwagu village like wildfire. Women gathered around her, touching her belly, offering advice, and bringing gifts. Men congratulated 𝐼𝐻𝐿, clapping his back and praising him. "Your child will be strong," the elders said. 𝐬𝐵𝐽𝐿 felt overwhelmed. For years, she had been an outcast, unloved and unwanted. Now, she was cherished, respected, celebrated. She placed a hand on her belly, whispering a silent prayer. "My child, you will never know the pain I knew." This was the beginning of a new chapter. As the months passed, 𝐼𝐻𝐿 became more protective of 𝐬𝐵𝐽𝐿. He made sure she ate well, rested enough, and avoided stress. "Sit down, my love," he would say, taking tasks out of her hands. 𝐬𝐵𝐽𝐿 laughed. "I'm pregnant, not sick." He shook his head. "Even so, you must rest." His love melted her heart. She had never imagined having a husband who cared for her so deeply. And every time he touched her growing belly, she felt her love for him deepen. One evening, as 𝐬𝐵𝐽𝐿 and 𝐼𝐻𝐿 sat outside enjoying the cool breeze, a visitor arrived. It was Motsi Udoka, 𝐼𝐻𝐿's uncle. His face was tense. "I bring troubling news," he said. 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐜𝐫𝐢𝐻𝐿 and 𝐼𝐻𝐿 exchanged glances. What is it? 𝐼𝐻𝐿 asked. 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐞 sighed. Mama Chinyere and Adogo have returned. 𝐬𝐵𝐻𝐿 felt her heart stop. No, she whispered. 𝐼𝐻𝐿's expression hardened. That's not possible. They were banished. 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐞 nodded. Yes. But they have been seen near the outskirts of the village. A cold shiver ran down 𝐬𝐵𝐻𝐿's spine. What did they want now? Would they try to harm her again? She placed a protective hand on her belly. This time, she was not just fighting for herself. She was fighting for her child. The next morning, as 𝐬𝐵𝐻𝐿 walked to the village well, she felt eyes watching her. She turned sharply and froze. Adogo stood a few feet away. Her face was pale and thin, her once proud eyes filled with something strange. Regret. Bitterness. 𝐬𝐵𝐻𝐿's heart pounded. What are you doing here? She demanded. Adogo stepped forward slowly. I came to see you, she said quietly. 𝐬𝐵𝐻𝐿 took a step back. You shouldn't be here. Adogo sighed. I know. But I have something to say. 𝐬𝐵𝐻𝐿 crossed her arms. She was done being fooled by this woman. I have nothing to say to you. Adogo's eyes filled with tears. Please, 𝐬𝐵𝐻𝐿, she whispered. I have changed. 𝐬𝐵𝐻𝐿 stared at Adogo. Could she trust her? After everything she had done. After the poison, the lies, the threats. She closed her eyes for a moment. Then, softly, she said, Go. Adogo looked shocked. 𝐬𝐵𝐻𝐿's voice remained firm. I don't know if you have truly changed. But I will not allow you near my family. Tears slipped down Adogo's face. She nodded slowly. I understand, she whispered. Then she turned and walked away. 𝐬𝐵𝐻𝐿 watched her go, her heart heavy. Had she done the right thing? Or would Adogo return with even more evil? Only time would tell. As 𝐬𝐵𝐻𝐿's pregnancy progressed, the village of Umwogu prepared for the arrival of a new life. Women offered prayers and blessings for her safe delivery. 𝐼𝐻𝐿 became even more protective, ensuring she rested often. Everything seemed peaceful. Until one night, when everything changed. It started with a sharp pain. 𝐬𝐵𝐻𝐿 sat up in bed, gasping. Something was wrong. Her belly felt tight, and a strange dizziness clouded her mind. She tried to call out for 𝐼𝐻𝐿, but her throat felt dry. Then, the pain grew worse. Tears streamed down her face. Was she losing the baby? 𝐼𝐻𝐿 woke up to the sound of her whimpering. His heart nearly stopped when he saw the pain on her face. 𝐬𝐵𝐻𝐿, he cried, rushing to her side. She clutched her stomach, trembling. Something is wrong, she gasped. Fear flashed through his eyes. Without wasting time, he carried her into his arms. We need 𝐸𝐵𝐝, he said, his voice shaking. The village herbalist was the only one who could save her. He ran into the night, shouting for help. Within minutes, villagers gathered outside their homes. Some ran ahead to fetch the herbalist. Others whispered among themselves. Is she going into labor too soon? Has someone cast an evil eye on her? But 𝐼𝐻𝐿 had no time for talk. All he cared about was saving 𝐬𝐵𝐻𝐿 and their child. When 𝐸𝐵𝐝 arrived, he immediately examined 𝐬𝐵𝐻𝐿. His face grew serious. The baby is in danger, he said. 𝐼𝐻𝐿 felt his blood turn cold. What can we do? He demanded. The herbalist took a deep breath. There is a special medicine that can help, he said. But we must act quickly. The herbalist turned to 𝐼𝐻𝐿. The medicine I need comes from a rare plant, he explained. It grows deep in the forest, and it must be picked before sunrise. 𝐼𝐻𝐿 didn't hesitate. Tell me where to find it, he said. The herbalist nodded. I will guide you. But the journey is dangerous. 𝐼𝐻𝐿 set his jaw. I will do anything to save my wife and child. Without another word, he grabbed his machete and followed the herbalist into the night. The forest was silent and eerie, the air thick with the sounds of the night. Owls hooted. Crickets chirped. But 𝐼𝐻𝐿's only focus was reaching the plant before it was too late. The herbalist led the way, his steps careful and sure. Suddenly, a rustling sound in the bushes. 𝐼𝐻𝐿 stopped. His eyes narrowed. Did you hear that? He whispered. The herbalist nodded. There is something here with us. 𝐼𝐻𝐿 gripped his machete tightly. Was it an animal? Or something far more dangerous? Before they could react, a dark figure leaped from the shadows. A man, dressed in torn clothes, wielding a long dagger. His eyes glowed with hatred. You should not be here, the man hissed. 𝐼𝐻𝐿's breath caught. The man was one of Mama Chinya's old allies. A dangerous man known for his evil ways. And now, he was blocking their path. You will not leave here alive, the man sneered. 𝐼𝐻𝐿 tightened his grip on his weapon. I don't have time for this, he said coldly. The man laughed. Then make time. With a sudden movement, he lunged. 𝐼𝐻𝐿 dodged just in time, swinging his machete. A sharp clang echoed as their weapons met. This was a fight to the death. And 𝐼𝐻𝐿 couldn't afford to lose. The dark forest echoed with the clash of metal. 𝐼𝐻𝐿 blocked another attack, his muscles burning with effort. The mysterious attacker, one of Mama Chinya's old allies, was killed. But 𝐼𝐻𝐿 was fighting for more than just his life. He was fighting for 𝐬𝐵𝐵𝐿. For their unborn child. For their future. And he would not lose. The attacker lunged forward, slashing at 𝐼𝐻𝐿's side. 𝐼𝐻𝐿 dodged, but the blade grazed his arm, leaving a shallow cut. Pain flashed through him, but he ignored it. He countered with a powerful strike, forcing the man backward. The herbalist, watching from the shadows, called out, We don't have time for this, 𝐼𝐻𝐿. 𝐼𝐻𝐿 knew he was right. 𝐬𝐵𝐵𝐿 was waiting. And she needed him. With one final burst of strength, he swung his machete low, striking the man's leg. The attacker cried out and fell to the ground. 𝐼𝐻𝐿 didn't wait. He turned to the herbalist. Let's go. They ran deeper into the forest. Minutes later, they reached a small clearing. Under the moonlight grew the rare healing plant. The herbalist rushed forward, carefully picking the leaves. We have it, he said. 𝐼𝐻𝐿 exhaled in relief. Then let's go, he urged. They raced back toward the village knowing that every second counted. Back in the village, 𝐬𝐵𝐵𝐿 lay weak on her mat. Sweat covered her forehead. Her breathing was shallow. The women whispered in worry. Where is 𝐼𝐻𝐿? If he doesn't return soon, she may not survive. 𝐬𝐵𝐵𝐿, half conscious, whispered one name. 𝐼𝐻𝐿, tears slipped from her eyes. Would she ever see him again? Would their child survive? Just as the village healer was losing hope, 𝐼𝐻𝐿 burst through the door. I have the medicine, he shouted. The women gasped in relief. The herbalist quickly crushed the leaves, mixing them into a warm drink. Hold her up, he instructed. 𝐼𝐻𝐿 gently lifted 𝐬𝐵𝐵𝐿's head, pressing the drink to her lips. Drink, my love, he whispered. With great effort, she swallowed. Everyone held their breath. Minutes passed, then, her breathing grew stronger. Color returned to her cheeks. The women cheered. She will live. Tears filled 𝐼𝐻𝐿's eyes. He pressed a kiss to her forehead. You are safe now, he whispered. 𝐬𝐵𝐵𝐿, eyes half open, smiled weakly. I knew you would come for me. And just like that, she was saved. And so was their child. For days after her near-death experience, 𝐬𝐵𝐺𝐵 remained weak but alive. Women from the village took turns caring for her, bringing herbal drinks and fresh food. 𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐻𝐿 never left her side. With the last of their enemies gone, 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐿 finally found peace. 𝐬𝐵𝐺𝐵 could walk through the village without fear. She could smile freely, knowing that no one would come for her again. And as her pregnancy progressed, she felt a new kind of happiness. A happiness she had never known before. She was no longer the orphan girl, the servant, the forgotten one. She was a wife, a leader, and soon, a mother. One cool evening, as the sun set over the village, 𝐬𝐵𝐺𝐵 felt it. A sharp pain. Then another. The baby was coming. 𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐻𝐿 panicked at first. But the village women quickly took control. Bring hot water. Prepare the herbs. Hold on, 𝐬𝐵𝐺𝐵, you are strong. 𝐬𝐵𝐺𝐵 gritted her teeth through the pain. She had survived so much. She would survive this too. And finally, after hours of labor, a cry filled the air. Her baby's first cry. The women cheered. 𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐻𝐿 rushed inside, breathless. And when he saw his wife, holding their child, tears filled his eyes. It's a boy, the midwife said, smiling. 𝐬𝐵𝐺𝐵 looked at the tiny life in her arms. She had fought for this moment. And now, it was real. The village rejoiced at the birth of 𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐻𝐿 and 𝐬𝐵𝐺𝐵's son. Drums echoed through the air. Men raised their cups of palm wine. Women danced, singing songs of joy. He will be a great man, the elders declared. He carries the strength of his mother and the wisdom of his father. And for the first time in her life, 𝐬𝐵𝐺𝐵 was truly happy. She had won. She had overcome every battle. And now, she had everything she had ever dreamed of. A home. A family. A future. And most of all, peace. Hope you enjoyed the tale. If so, please like the video, comment, share it with your family and friends, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell for more enchanting tales like this one. Goodbye.